Most of us would have encountered history like this. But what if you could experience history like this? Boom! And that was Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights. It's one of Singapore's many world-class attractions, a bit with a dark twist. See, once a year, this beloved theme park trades away Sesame Street and transforms into something far more sinister. It becomes this what I will call a dark attraction. But disclaimer, I'm using this term loosely as immersive storytelling that takes visitors through a series of scenes that are dark in nature. Since I wouldn't really call Halloween Horror Nights a haunted house, more like an artificially curated experience. But hold up, why are we leaning to the macabre to keep these attractions, well, attractive? Singapore, after all, loves its image as a gleaming metropolis. So why go back to uncivilized, exotic superstitions of the past? Well, buckle up, because I argue that dark attractions should be considered as quality public history. That's right, these dark attractions, they're also about confronting real cultural and historical narratives, and the youths must understand that. Halloween Horror Nights is an event so beloved, it has a cult following, me included. The Universal Studios team pours an entire year into crafting this seasonal event to draw repeat customers. Visitors pay around $80 to $90, and then they have to queue up for 2 hours for a 10-minute haunted house. And this process repeats itself over and over. And we never discuss the things we see in there, not the aestheticized violence or the historical setting. But anyway, at its core, it's all about making big bucks. Capitalism. But I think there's something greater at play here. Or at least I would like to think there is if I'm dropping like $100 a night. I'm a poor struggling student. It's better be worth it. And it is. Now let me explain. Unlike its Orlando or Hollywood counterparts, Halloween Horror Nights has to cater to a Singaporean audience.
Hi, I'm Andrea Teo, and I'm an executive producer of the Halloween Horror Night series for Universal Studios Singapore. We wanted to pay tribute to the most famous local iconic things in Singapore. My favorite parts of the whole experience this year is really the local content and the way that we've actually managed to capture very familiar scenes and just twist them. So I think if you go around looking for things that look familiar and yet not have a very different distinctive look, I think that's good. That's special for me.
So forget about Freddy Krueger or Chucky. Those things don't scare us. Instead, get ready to be chased by 1800 Chinese pirates, Malay witch doctors from the 1960s, and vengeful 1840s possessed Indian brides. Yup, history's getting up close and really personal. That's what makes Halloween Horror Nights so successful. It connects locals to their history. Imagine this. After taking cute pictures at Shrek's castle, you're suddenly transported into a different time and space. The lighting, fog, the smells. You have been pulled into the Hungry Ghost Festival. And these attractions immerses you in Southeast Asian folklore. And here's where it gets really interesting. These dark attractions don't play on your fear of the unknown. You're interacting with a reimagined version of your history. This challenges you to think about the way you engage with the past. It allows you to confront anxieties that you wouldn't be able to in the everyday, or within the broader strokes of history. It has been said, if you want to understand a place, ignore the boasting monuments and landmarks and go straight to the haunted houses. Because ghost stories reveal so much more about the tellers and their society than any other authorized heritage tours.
I think everyone from growing up knows the history, and everybody has probably met somebody who's had some encounter.
And these attractions are based out from personal stories and lived experiences from locals. My personal favorite, Rebirth of the Matriarch.
We're here at one of the haunted houses for Halloween Horror Nights, where the team has recreated a Peranakan funeral home. Local and regional horror is something close to our hearts, so authenticity is key. Let me take you through some of the details of the house. Let's go. This is the collector's room where we house key Peranakan artifacts. It's a very rich culture that we're referencing, so we pay very close attention to details, furniture, lattice work, and even the tiles.
The story in this house is simple. A son has neglected the proper funeral rites for his mother. And well, she's back to haunt him. And as a Peranakan, an ethnic minority in Southeast Asia, it distorted what was home to me. My culture, my language, my dress, all as a cautionary tale about filial piety. As anthropologists have pointed out, these ghost stories offer a language for critiquing the conditions of everyday life. I could go on and on about analysing this house. See, the matriarch could totally be my great-grandmother coming back from the dead to warn me about practicing ancestral worship and preserving tradition, which I don't really do anymore. But the attraction offers a response to that. See, at the end of the horror maze, the son becomes obsessed with preserving his family legacy. He tries to resurrect his mother, which ends, well, it's a moral narrative. Clinging to the past and being resistant to change is only going to hurt you. Conceptually, this house is so interesting because it challenges the power the living ascribes to the dead. The dead have become symbols of memory, guilt, and our forgotten roots. But that's all they are, symbols. The living are the ones we should be worried about. They're the true victims caught in the tides of changing times. How do we modernize into a developed country without compromising our position as carriers of cultural memory, particularly since the Peranakans are experiencing cultural erasure, forgetting, and assimilation into the majoritarian racial groups? It's a sad story, but it's relevant and resonant to everyone. So even if you're not familiar with the cultural details, the moths represent my ancestors, you still feel the tension. It's a visceral experience that engages your curiosity about the history of other communities. Take this Canadian YouTuber for example.
I want to talk about what my favorite houses were here for Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Singapore. I have to go with the rebirth of the matriarch. That was really cool. I love the whole cultural aspect to it. I really enjoyed that. And the matriarch is just a cool icon, Horror Nights icon. We love it.
Now, I'm not suggesting these commercial experience offers closure to cultural traumas. Rather, I'm looking to reevaluate these dark attractions as more than just kitsch. We need to reevaluate the prioritization of cheap thrills over educational value. And I believe the two are mutually exclusive. Dark attractions are public commemorations of history, and we have to treat it as such. It's the intersection of material culture and intangible heritage. And it's not just a scream fest for youths to get drunk and wear glowing headbands. While I understand that it takes a lot to run such an establishment, but we have to see the younger generation as a more intelligent audience. These haunted houses encourage creative approaches to create pseudo-history and new lenses to see the world. It utilizes the very best of technology and artistry to re-envision and author a radically new perspective of the past, which ultimately leads to a better understanding of social suffering. And that's where we come in as consumers. We have an ethical obligation and social responsibility to consider how historical representation is handled. These attractions, whether we realize it or not, contribute to shaping public memory and perceptions of history. These dark attractions should be more than just backdrops of entertainment. They risk trivializing deeply significant struggles. While it's not enough for youth to just in a World War II facility and never talk about it again. While it's true people attending these dark attractions are not looking to be educated, it's a lost opportunity. There could be publicized discussion with the creative team to share about their process of world building and the messages they're trying to convey. It's a dark attraction. You don't have to conform to convention or obey moral rules. No one is expecting sanitized history here. And that's the beauty of it, the chaos. These experiences should be a springboard to guided discussions that these haunted houses raise. And it shouldn't cost an arm and a leg either. What does that say about access to information? Have signages, have digital content that offers visitors insights to the real stories behind the scare. We need to advance beyond gimmicky cash grabs. These events, they aren't going away. In fact, they're getting more popular. Forbes reports that in 2022, Halloween Horror Nights drew in $575 million, with more than 1.5 million visitors during the event. We need to take dark attractions seriously as unique forms of public history.
And I think it's kind of been in the collective memory of most Singaporeans as that place.
They challenge how we remember, interpret, and engage with history. They are where history, culture, and entertainment collide. They can become an alternative way about experiencing and learning about our past, empowering the local population about their cultural landscape and affirming a shared identity. If you can't beat them, join them and make it better.